like, man.
Yeah, righto, mate. And my last answer is three things.
It's like,
Go on, now finish your second answer.
No, I didn't have a second answer.
I didn't realise how often you cut people off, you know?
Sorry, bro.
No, that's all right. I just didn't realise.
Tough question. Because they'll go, no. And you're like, whoa. But like, now you're pissing me off.
Well, you're a psycho when you step out there for the most part.
I might walk, if I'm shaking a hand, I'd be like, man, you messed up. Messed up big time. Man, I shouldn't say that, but...
For most of these guys, their whole identity is wrapped up in being a basketball player.
Yeah. That's what I believe that's what competitive sports is about, period, across the board. And say, in general, me and the refs, like what I think of refs.
I just don't like the bullshit answers where it's like...
Hey, what's up, people? Quick announcement before we jump in, and that is none other than my brand new interactive ebook has been released. It's live now, and this teaches the fundamental lessons that every referee deserves to be taught in order to protect their mental well-being, but isn't. And this ebook, it's really special to me, and it's really close to my heart. I poured a lot of passion and love and care into it because I had specifically you guys in mind, and I've been in the shoes of the referee who needs these lessons, and I know it would have made the world of difference for me and some of my close peers coming through the ranks, and so that's why it's there. I know it has the opportunity to do a lot of good for you, so I implore you to get it. But at the end of the day, that decision is on you, and that is perfectly fine. If you have questions, feel free to ask me, that's fine. I've even gone and created a special code for the listeners of this specific episode. So people who are here right now listening to me talk, if you guys go to get the ebook, the link's in the description all over my socials, then at checkout, type in PRIDE, PRIDE, and you will get 50% off. 50% off the ebook. So yeah, I appreciate you guys. And let's take it to a whole nother level. Let's go. In other news, my podcast has been rebranded. Welcome to the Cross Factor. We're going to take it to a whole nother level. I'm really excited for that. Coming full circle, this episode right here. This episode was so fascinating for me because Josh Walters and Josh Tueta are two players who they're kind of notorious for being difficult to referee. And they actually open up, they become quite honest about their perspective on the game, the role that referees have within that. And I learned a ton. Walters and Tueta are incredible people. And I think it's really important to listen to this episode because I think it's going to be extremely valuable to helping you become the best you can be. Fellas, thanks for joining me.
Pleasure, bro.
Usually how I start off my podcast is I do like a little icebreaker question, and generally I just put it through a randomizer, and whichever question pops out is the one that you get. And so I did it prior to coming here because I didn't want to have sheets and stuff. So the question that came out for you guys is, what's the funniest prank you've ever pulled on someone?
Interesting.
You got it? I got to think.
Or just one that comes to your mind.
Man, I got a messed up one.
I'm ready.
I got a super messed up one. So my niece, you know the one I'm talking about, eh? So our niece has been watching YouTube or whatever for a couple of weeks, and then oh, it's so bad. Her granddad was the guy getting pranked, but she was actually doing it for her brothers and sisters to get pranked, but it ended up being the granddad. So she put Glad wrap underneath the toilet seat on top of the bowl. And yeah, you can pretty much guess what happened. Went to do a number 2 and man, ended up all over him.
A number 2?
Yeah, he was not happy.
That's even worse.
Yeah. I don't know what would have been worse because number 1's hitting the walls and everything.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
gotta really clean up.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, for me, prank, I don't know.
Surely you got something on Izzy or something.
I got something. One time I had a cup of tea and Izzy was probably like 5-10 meters away. and I pull my tea bag out and just gave it a quick flick, and it just slapped him in the face and blew up all over him. It's just a classic memory.
Yeah.
I guess that's my prank. Yeah, I'll leave it with
Nah, cool. So we'll kind of dive straight in, and we're going to talk about your favorite subject today, which is referees. So what I want to kind of start off with is what has been, you guys have had long basketball careers, and what's been your overall experience with referees, positive and negative, that you've seen just in general? I know it's quite a general question, but just to kick it off, what do you guys see from that standpoint?
It's hard, I think, for me, because and Josh as well, actually played in the US and then played here and then played in Europe. So I've had quite different styles of refereeing. Definitely like rule changes and stuff was kind of interesting. I think for me, communication was the thing that I admired most about the referees that I thought were really good, and ones that could handle like emotions of the game. There's definitely some that I think can't handle the emotion in terms of like a player biting back too quick and then they get in their feelings and then it ends messy, and then from the rest of the game it's like it's human nature, right? Like someone goes at you, you're reactive, and that lingers in your brain throughout the rest of the game, rather than a quick like, all right, I understand these guys are going at it. I think as a whole, that part of the refereeing side has been 50-50.
Yep.
Depending on who's refereeing and who it is.
Yep.
Europe was different because they don't speak English, great English. So automatically they know I'm a foreigner, so they're already eyes on me, see what I do, see what I complain about, stuff like that. The US, I think it's kind of hard because everyone has different perspectives, but everyone says it's more physical and it's faster, but I actually think Australia is more physical, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
The speed's probably different. But playing over there, I think the physicality is not as allowed.
Yeah, right. So they're allowing more physicality in Australian basketball.
I believe so, especially like NBL.
Cool.
If you look at the NBL, like the finals this year, were pretty like, there were a couple of times where me and you were like, oh, man, dude, I'm thinking foul, but the whole game's just
the
like
style
that.
of plays was just more physical.
Yeah. So I think that's my general sort of scope. Had different experiences, different referees. Depends who you get. Depends who can handle the emotions and who can't, really.
Fair enough. Do you want to chime in?
Yeah, for me, I'll go and say, in general, me and the refs, like what I think of refs.
Yeah.
You bring up a good point. A lot of inconsistency, across the world, across different leagues and different countries. I've got to experience that. So that's something that you got to understand, and it's probably normal. Communication, I'll piggyback off that. That's like, to me, the biggest thing, relationships on court and communicating. I think that's the biggest skill, the most important skill.
Just to cut you off there, there's a clip out there. You guys have seen that clip?
Have you seen that one with that Euro ref?
Yeah.
That's a good clip.
I don't know, so you said something. It is a good clip. He is good. I don't know if refs are actually meant to be like 100% mediators, or he makes a point in that.
Yeah.
I would like them to be, maybe, personally.
I guess I liked the communication with him, between him and the other referees that he was doing, and between him and the coach. And at that level where they've got challenges and stuff, it's like, well, man,
you
if
should
you
throw
want
that clip up.
Yeah, you should.
That's a great clip.
Yeah, I'll pop it up. I'll pop it in the link. I'll put a little thing up now, maybe.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So, wait, what do you mean when you don't think referees should be 100% mediating like that?
Well, like, they've got a game to referee and officiate. They have to be locked in, and it's like they're not there to babysit, so to speak. But again, if you want
over-controlling, almost.
Yeah. No, I just don't think we as players, I think at one point in that video, he says something like, we have to be the mediator, we have to be the, and there is a degree of that. But as well, you can't allow players to just, go wild because they're playing a game and they're emotionally involved in that, and then expect the refs to calm everyone down all the time. I just think there's a fine line there. But I do think keep going, that communication's the biggest skill, relationship building, whatever that is. And the third thing, man, this is my main point I want to make. I can't remember right now. The third thing. Oh, yeah, okay, so refs are humans. Just like us, just like everyone, so they make mistakes, just like us as players, like everyone. But as a player, when I'm out on the court and I make a little mistake, I get angry at myself. And, when a ref makes a little mistake, big mistake, lots of mistakes, I get angry at them too. I don't think it's unfair that refs get a heap of pressure put on them and they get crucified for their mistakes. Because that's what I believe that's what competitive sports is about, period, across the board. And then also they should be praised for great calls and things too, and there's definitely a lot of that. But yeah, I definitely think, in general, I guess people should understand they make mistakes just like players, like normal people. And that's just what it is.
Yep. I tend to agree mostly, but I think it also depends, in my opinion, I think it also depends on like the level of game as well, right? So like, for example, if it's a high level league like NBL 1 even, then yeah, referees are expected to be at a certain level. And if they're not, then it's appropriate to, hold them accountable, I would say. But I think there's also times where, particularly at a junior level and things like that, where it's just not acceptable.
100%. 100%. And I also don't think that it's on us as players or me as a player to hold them accountable all the time. That's not my job.
Yep.
But I do think accountability is big, and I'll help that if I can.
Cool. Yep. So you guys both literally just said that communication is the biggest kind of factor for you guys. How do you like to be communicated with? Give us some examples. For example, one specific question is like when players have a blow up or, they're acting disrespectfully towards refs, how do you like to see them respond? Or, that type of thing.
I think it goes back to the mediating, which you were sort of saying they're not meant to mediate, but
well, I said there's a fine line.
Yeah,
they do have to some extent.
Yeah, like I feel like if I blow up, and like most of the referees of the NBL 1 know the guys, right? So they call you by your first name, and I've had this a couple of times. I go, hey, just calm down and just talk to me normally, and then it's like, okay, I can stop.
They say that to you?
Yeah. I can stop going crazy and be like, oi, we're just not getting the same calls that they're getting down there, and and then it sort of works from there.
Yeah.
I guess I just don't like the bullshit answers where it's like I just missed it is okay, I guess, but it's like there's another answer that I get all the time where I'm like, it's just almost
seems like a cop out.
Yeah.
That head shake with the look.
Yeah, like that.
That shit.
Yeah, it's like, what is that? What does that mean? There's no explanation there, Like I'd rather you say, I have no angle, or someone cut in front of you at the same time and I couldn't see through a body. Like that to me is like, oh, okay, well, there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah. Otherwise,
and in that moment, I'm not being witty enough to go, well, get yourself in a better position. Like it's it's just be like, well, it is what it is,
Yeah.
So I think, and that's my example, is that when I do blow up, it's like we want to be, I guess, not necessarily calmed down, but dealt with the right way. Sometimes you get the opposite where you blow up and they blow up back at you, and it's like, oh, you're just feeding fire now.
Yeah.
And not happen for 2 or 3 possessions.
Yeah, that's funny, man. I've seen that happen a couple of times.
Because they'll go, no, and you're like, whoa, like now you're pissing me off. Let's.
It's almost like it gives you permission to argue more. Exactly. It's like, oh, you want to argue? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And maybe, and that goes back to what I said in the first question, the feelings thing. Like, as a human, if I'm yelling at you and, low key abusing you in a way, you've got that mode of I can mediate or I'm going to yell back. That's just reaction in the time, in the space.
Yep.
Mm.
And I think, I don't know what happens in ref courses. I'm not a ref, but maybe that's something that could be added. Conversation, like techniques or whatever.
Yeah, learning to communicate well. I think that's something that isn't,
because they're in the position
enough
to cop the heat, like Josh said. Like they're the ones that are going to cop the most heat, like more than anyone else. In my opinion, I think players cop heat as well, but not as much as the referees.
Yeah, the refs have got both sides on it.
Yeah.
Crowd, coaches,
everything.
Team, both sides on the refs.
Yeah.
I'll say the same as you, man. Like when I get a ref, and I'm often explosive in my first interaction, and if I get a ref say to me, like, hey, don't talk to me like that. What's the issue?
Yep.
It shuts me up instantly.
When you start talking like a normal person again,
Yeah, definitely. So I really appreciate that when they sort of take the first step to just, calm it down. That's big for me, I know.
And that's all it takes.
Yeah.
It's just that one little.
And then honesty, like you said before, the honesty thing. Like I remember being a ref, sometimes you don't see it. You just got to say that. And I've had that said to me this season, in fact, and it's like, well, okay, can you try and see it next time? But outside of that, there's not a whole lot more
be aware that it's happening.
Yeah. you know, and we don't see everything. Sometimes guys have bad angles, whatever it may be. Honesty is big. And then having, I hate to say it because I'm asking for a favor here, but having a bit of a like understanding that players are fully engaged, working hard, white line fever. I mean, I just said it's not an excuse, but have an understanding of that, try and deal with that. It's going to allow the game to move on better, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think I thought about this actually, and you're right. Like at the end of the day, players have so much more invested in the game than the referees, and it's a biased in like perspective, right?
100%.
So and the other thing is, man, I want to just touch on real quick. I'm going like multiple facets here, but the first thing is how much work goes into, you know, building your craft as a basketball player, right? I know for at least Walters here, I know I watched him during some of the best years of his career. Every day, man, every single minute detail was like, you know, he's in the gym every single day. He's focusing on what he's eating, focusing on working out in the actual weight room as well. Like, there's so much that's being invested. Of course, he's going to care when he's out on the court. Like, he's put in the work and sacrifices to play at a high level and to compete
and to chase a dream. And so you can talk to that as well, right? Having dreams in front of you that you're really working hard to chase. Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I guess I just real quick just touch on some of the amount of work that actually goes in as a professional athlete.
I mean, you said it, bro.
That's
like,
it.
If you want to do it at the high level, you got to do it every day for hours.
That's with anything.
Yeah.
Not just basketball.
Yeah.
You want to be, you know, we can talk about podcasting. You want to be a good podcaster, do more of it. You know, figure out ways to be better at it or have something different, you know?
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same with with anything, with being a trainer. You want to be a good trainer, do more of it, study it, look at videos of other people doing stuff, take things that you like from here or from there. Are you saying that the referees aren't putting in as the same amount as like time or there's not like a big...
yeah. I mean, I think that's true as well.
Yeah.
I think that's true as well. I think a lot of referees, you know, it's...
But you were making the point that the players invest a lot more than refs.
Yeah.
Just that, hey.
Yeah.
Not so much that the refs need to do more or aren't doing enough.
Correct.
Just that the players are fully invested.
Yes, thank you for clarifying. That's exactly what I meant.
And
because it's kind of like what you were saying, like, you know, with players getting white line fever and they take it so serious. Like, it's understandable. Like, these dudes are... This is their whole, for most of these guys, their whole identity is wrapped up in being a basketball player. Yeah. And so I think it's important for referees to understand that and realize that, you know, it's not about us, obviously. But the other thing that kind of I was thinking about and came to me was, as a referee, it's not your responsibility to make me feel good. Do you know what I mean? So like, when you guys have those blow-ups and things, it's because you have your own vested interest in the game, and it's not your responsibility. At least as a referee, we can't have the expectation that you guys are going to take care of us. And so, because I thought about this when I went out on a game, and I was like, man, I just don't feel comfortable refereeing these players. If only they were nicer, or if only they were better behaved towards me. And I thought about that, and I was like, you know, like, these guys are under no obligation to treat me any certain way. It's my responsibility to take care of my emotions and my mental health and my reactions to facilitate the best that I can.
Yeah.
That's all I can control as a referee. So that's just my 2 cents on referees refereeing competitive basketball.
Yeah. And that makes the job so hard as a ref.
It's true, yeah.
You're right. They don't have any obligation as players to act anyway, except to just being decent people. I mean, you can maybe throw that in there. But the ref's got to deal with 10 dudes on the court that are all, you know, they got their own things. It makes it hard.
And that's probably why we don't have the amount of referees that we should. You know, like, there's not a bunch that are coming through. Like, it's a struggle, right, to get referees.
For sure. Yeah, it is a struggle.
And it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's tough. It's not easy.
For sure.
And I think finding enjoyment in it is going to be a tough thing.
In refereeing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you think it comes from? Like, most of the refs, you know, why do they enjoy it?
I think it comes from...
higher level stuff, you know?
Yeah. When you get to the higher level, it's definitely like a way to stay involved in the game just because of the love of basketball. Yeah. I think that's a big big piece.
Yep.
And then also, I guess it's just
because there's a lot of NBA refs that are ex-NBA players,
Mm.
which surprised me when I was doing a little bit of research. I was like, well, most of these dudes have actually had careers in the league.
Yeah.
Not long ones, but been there and,
You want
like
to stay connected with the game for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing, man. Just love basketball and then having something to strive for as well. Like once you start getting into the nitty gritty of being a ref, like there's levels to reffing. And it's like, oh, I might be able to ref at the NBL one. I might be able to get on the big stage and then, make big time.
Out of it. Yeah.
You get a bit of career and you stay around the game and you develop good relationships with other referees. And, I think there's a lot of benefits and there's a lot of positives. And it's also, you learn a lot for yourself as well. Like if you're a young referee, if you're 12, 13, 14, you hear a lot of the negative stuff, but it also teaches you a lot and you have to go through those stressful situations in order to grow as a person. And so you'll be growing or you'll be dying. I don't know.
I felt that as a young ref for sure. Like growing as a person, being more confident and also the game. Understood the game way better as a player from my referee experiences.
Yeah, because obviously you refed when you were young too.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's interesting. Did that affect how you interacted with referees later on or not so much? No.
I always, actually, this one game this year, I didn't shake hands with the refs for whatever reason. Oh, no, they bounced. They got out early, which is on them. So,
yeah.
Outside of that, I always shake hands with the ref. And pretty much every game, I'm always like low-key hating on the refs at the end of the game.
Yeah.
See, I'm bad like that. Sometimes I don't.
So, yeah, I act right at the end of the game. In my mind, I got to go shake their hand and thank them for what they did. And I look them in the eyes, no matter how I feel. Unless I've been tossed from the game, which happens too.
Yeah.
Which is valid.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, not really. Hey, my refereeing experience has not made me treat the refs nicer on court like I would have hoped to be. And I chalk that up to whatever I want. Doesn't matter. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And when the game is over, you say, sometimes you're emotional during the game, you're not liking the refs, everything like that. Once the game is over, you just explain that you always go up and shake their hands. I think that's admirable. How do you feel towards referees? Once the game is over, have you had interactions with referees off the court after games, things like that? And do you feel like you bring that judgment and that baggage with you into those interactions and into future games? Is that something that you guys are conscious of? Or because I don't
think I do. I think refs are cool off court.
I'm opposite. I'm very petty.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't be, but I am. I might walk, if I'm shaking a hand, I'd be like, man, you messed up big time. And half the time it's like,
I hate you, man.
Afterwards I was like, man, I shouldn't say that, but I don't know. I just got to give my 2 cents when it's a time to look them in the face and be like, hey man, you just messed up today. Like, just didn't.
Yeah, I've done that too, but that's it's just honest feedback is how I feel at times when I'm doing it. I think off the court, man, when I see the refs in public or whatever, or around the stadium, it's always cool.
Yeah, for the most part, I've been the same with like saying good day or whatever. Like Fiona was always around. I was always saying hey to Fiona and she refed us for ages.
And that's it. Been around a lot of these refs for a long time as well. So
I
can't act like I haven't seen you for the last 10 years and know your name. And, thanks for doing the games and making the games
thanks
possible.
Thanks for
putting
me on report. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so all that.
Hey, man, what did you do to get put on report though?
Oh. Yeah, well.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, it was justified. It was definitely justified.
Yeah. I mean.
It was actually after a game I yelled abuse across the court to her. And it was like, okay, afterwards I was like, that's going to go 2 or 3, 2 ways. She's either going to take it or she's going to report it. She reported it. So
it's like bad or worse.
Which is valid.
Or she'll appreciate you, man. No, that's not going to happen. No. She'll make the call right for you next time. Nope. Not going to happen.
She'll listen to your words and consider them at home at night. Yeah, no.
She'll empathize for you, man.
Saying whatever,
Yeah. And so I guess I want to kind of move into a little bit of junior basketball for a second, just because I think it's important to touch on that side of things as well. You guys are both coaches of junior basketball teams, or have been at least, and you coach junior basketball players. What kind of message are you sending to the young players that you're coaching about how to treat referees?
no interaction when I'm
Mhm.
coaching. None.
Mhm.
If you got any questions, then I ask it.
Mm-hmm.
Even to the point where like junior refs, because they're inexperienced, they don't do a good job of going through the captain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they just don't. They just haven't figured that out.
Especially,
yet.
man, to be fair as well, like the captain doesn't do a good job of knowing how to be a captain. Like they're
Correct.
12,
Captain's
13,
12,
14 years old. Like
Yeah,
this kid
that's
doesn't know
both
how to
ways.
interact.
Yeah,
But I guess, yeah, they're all kids though.
yeah.
Yep.
So I think my rule, like, and it has been since day dot, and even maybe with the teams we've done, none of the kids are to interact with the ref. That's just me and him,
Mm-hmm.
like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm
Fair.
not like that. No, I'm not like that nowadays, but maybe we were back in the day when we had
under
younger
14s,
teams.
under
Yeah.
16s, yeah.
Yeah, but still, like, you know, if you interact with the refs, I tell the kids to do it the right way when I'm coaching. Here, I like to tell the kids, like, you know, refs aren't perfect. And if you make sloppy plays, if you wave your hands around, if your hips are out of position, you're giving them an excuse to call a foul. So that's on you. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like to harp on that one.
Yeah.
If you're not perfect in what you're doing and doing, you know, the right technical stuff on D, then don't whinge if a ref calls a foul on you because, you know, it could look that way. And that's on you. That's the message I preach in here at Pride.
I think mine is also like, they're not going to change it, man.
Yeah.
What are you whinging about?
Mm.
Get over it, move on, next possession sort of thing, you know?
Other thing I wanted to touch on there was, do you guys see any problems with players using referees as scapegoats in order to just deflect responsibility from themselves? And, you know how you get players who just complain every possession?
Yeah.
Like, I want to know from you guys who have been in all facets of the game, like, what advice do you have to these players that are constantly, you know, just making excuses almost, because every single trip down the court, there should have been a foul, there should have been this, should have been that, and it takes away from the game. And do you see a problem with that?
Yeah, for sure. It's like, what are you trying to do with basketball? You're trying to be as good as you can be? Yes? Okay. Well, then don't look at anything else but what you can do and what you can control.
Yeah, don't blame anyone else.
Shut up about the coach. Shut up about the teammate that doesn't give you the ball. Shut up about the ref that's giving you a hard time or whatever. Shut up about your bike broke so you couldn't get down to the stadium to shoot. Shut up that mum and dad won't take you to go, you know, train. Shut up that your shoes aren't good enough. Shut up that you don't have the right socks and shorts and they're in the wash and you couldn't get the kit. Like, what are you trying to do? You're trying to be as good as you can be? Well, go ahead and just focus on you and do what you can do. That's got to be 100% focus. I've never done that myself, you know, but like, that's the goal. That would be the goal.
Yeah.
That's my answer to that.
Cool.
Easy.
And from all those, you know, from all those situations, you learn things, you become better, like you have experiences, you know. An example of, you know, the silly one, but your bike breaks down and you need to get shots up. Catch a bus. That could be an experience. The first time you're catching a bus to some place that you've never, you know what I mean? Like for me, catching the train was like, whoa, to go do stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to do whatever you got to do to get to where you can get. And the ones that do complain on every possession, it's just, I mean, it's blatant that it's just excuses.
Everyone can see it.
Yeah.
So stop.
I mean, every possession's crazy.
And you lose credibility when you do that.
Yeah,
100%.
you do, certainly to the outside.
Every possession is crazy. I'm trying to think of like an NBA player that would do that, and I'm just Draymond Green just keeps coming to my head.
Draymond's
But I don't even want to say that he does it every possession.
As a ref, mate, why do you think Draymond gets away with bloody murder? Hey, this dude, man, the way he talks to refs and stuff, do you reckon there's an intimidation thing going on? He's got a reputation as a great player.
He's a tough one, man, because he's a funny dude. Because, you know, he has like his podcast, I think, or he speaks on. He's a part of the reporting group, and he speaks out on social media and stuff. And he's hard, man, because he talks like he's really respectful and like has good perspective on the game, and he's like, kudos to the refs, da 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 da. And he can always come back to reflecting and see things clearly. Yeah, and I think he does a good job of that, and it builds respect for him as a person. And then he goes on the court, and he's just like, the switch is flipped, and it's like, oh my god, this dude. Do I respect this dude or not? And the rest must be like, I don't know whether to take what this dude's saying as like, you know, oh, you have a point. Like, I want to acknowledge you, or like, you're actually just being a dick right now.
Yeah, man, great point.
I don't know whether it's like maybe those referees know that it's Draymond, and they know like, hey man, this guy's got extra white line fever. Like, We just got to be ready for it. And they sort of take it in that way. They know the players, it's not like they don't know the players. I mean, the NBA's it's a wild.
NBA's rigged as fuck. Whatever. Whatever.
Yeah.
They're not even indicative of real referees out there.
Well, it's funny, man, because you notice the difference, well, for me, from regular season basketball to playoff basketball. It's like now we're like Kyle Lowry is fouling on every possession. There's hands doing this and this on every single face up, every single dribble drive. And it's like, all the fouls they would have called. I think the last game, actually, Nuggets against Miami Heat, I want to say that there was like 3 fouls called in the first quarter, if that. I think it was 6 minutes without a whistle. And it's like dudes are getting smashed all over the floor, which is cool. Then do that for the rest of the game. And then the second quarter and the third quarter, everyone's in the penalty. And it's like, okay, so now we just, like, have they got together and then decided, hey, there's too much that we're letting go. We got to start changing it up. NBA refs are completely different though. Like they get in their own bubble and they decide how they want the game to go and what they call like technical fouls. You can't wave at a guy now. Like I remember seeing that all year.
Unless you're Draymond.
They would do this.
Or unless it's the NBA Finals. I saw a few people do that actually. And I was like, oh.
Yeah,
no?
and I saw a few snaps too, like a few like, come on. Like
even
yelling.
Clapping at the ref.
And
I saw that a couple times.
They didn't bite, which again, maybe they've got together and gone, hey, it's an emotional series, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. But to me, that shows inconsistency. So you're going to watch a whole NBA season where clapping in the face is a tech, and we get to the finals and it's like, we're not going to give it now.
What do you think of NBA refs? Compared to the world of referees that are out there.
Honestly, I don't think I have an opinion. I don't think I should have an opinion. I don't actually know what goes on. I watch a lot of NBA and I watch a lot of Australian basketball.
Do you never just go, like, are you never confused?
Did you not see Jimmy Butler shoot that 3 and Aaron Gordon?
I did.
You see that foul call?
Yeah. I'm probably going to be the only one who's ever said this. But like, when I first saw that, I was watching the game on mute, right? Because I was at the recovery room, had the game up on the projector, and I was just chilling. I was watching this game and I saw him pop the 3. And my initial reaction was like, why would you challenge that? That's a foul. That was my initial reaction because I just saw it.
On the live part or when they replayed it?
Both. On the live, and then on like the first replay, I was like, yeah, it's not getting overturned. Just because I feel like Jimmy I don't feel like he kicked out too much. And just the fact that Aaron Gordon, I think it was walking still towards him.
Was he still moving?
Aaron Gordon was still like moving forwards. He didn't stop. It wasn't like Jimmy moved into Aaron Gordon. I think Aaron Gordon was still moving just enough to at least warrant the fact that he was under his landing space.
Okay, that's good, man.
And maybe it was a bad call. And I think in real time, particularly after looking at the replay, should have been let go because it was marginal. But if you want to look at the nitty gritty of, is it technically a foul? I think it was, and that's
especially
why it was
with the rule change of.
Well, who came out of their cylinder to create contact? Does that even matter anymore? Is that a thing? I don't know.
It is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So on that point,
You're
Jimmy's
right.
little foot, it wasn't wild.
It went forward a bit.
It came out of his cylinder.
Natural movement, though.
You know what else?
Yeah,
potentially
pretty close.
Because shooters move.
That's it's out of the cylinder.
I was going to say
this is natural. It's out of the cylinder. If I slap a guy in the face, I mean,
fair. It's fair enough.
I was going to say, I reckon they know that Jimmy's naturally does that on his shot. If you watch all his jump shots, they're all right leg kickouts.
Yeah.
And I reckon they've studied that and they know that.
Yeah.
I think you're giving him way too much credit. I think your assessment was good, though.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't sure if Gordon had actually stopped or was he still walking forward.
Yeah.
And if you think that movement was there. But I remember watching that like, shit, they're cheating. They're trying to make this thing go 7. And I've seen that. Have you heard this Tim Donahue podcast? I think it's Tim Donahue.
Oh, no, I don't know.
He's an ex-ref, isn't he?
Yeah, let me find it.
Okay,
so
find it.
People get
That's
to
cool.
listen to this one.
Yeah, find
it's
it.
It's a 10-part series, and it's on the dude who was doing, I think it was Tim Donahue was his name.
Yeah, he's had a documentary done about him, I think. Is he the one that was...
I'll find it.
Is he the guy that was shaving
He went to
points and
jail,
stuff?
yeah.
Yeah.
He went to jail for it.
Oh, there's a documentary on Netflix about that, I think. It's Untold. Yeah. I've watched that. That's crazy. That's
Whistleblower,
crazy.
it's called.
Wow.
Whistleblower, it's about Tim Donahue or Donahue.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, man, whistleblower podcasts are sick.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, man, like our opinions.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just opinions, just talking.
Yeah. I hope that's understood at the start.
Here. Yeah, it should be. It should be. Yeah. Like I don't even know. Like I'm not professional.
No, just kidding.
Yeah, our word is gospel. Make sure you believe it.
Please.
Nah, that's crazy. All right, let's just shift back over real quick. So, what do you think about the overall relationship between refs and players at the moment as it stands? I think that it's quite bad, in my opinion. I think there just could be things done that could build respect for both sides, and I think that would help the game a lot because I think it's creating a lot of tension within basketball, especially at a young level, but it kind of trickles down from the high level anyway. Basically, I think that referees and players don't get along very well, and I think it would be nice if they could see more from each other's side. What do you think needs to be done from a referee's point of view or a player's point of view to help, create that bridge a bit better?
Yep.
Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah. I totally agree. Relations are not where they should be.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
I don't know if they will be.
Well, if they were going to be, how would we get them there?
I like it.
I reckon you got to educate, the players and the refs on like the basic psychology of it all. Not that I fucking know what that is, but there is like, let the players know, have them educated on the fact that, you're a psycho when you step out there for the most part, or like a lot of us turn to that. We're not, you said it before, Nate, we are not viewing objectively at all. We are very biased because we're invested and for all those reasons. And that's cool, but understand that. Understand when you go to a ref, you're coming from a super biased perspective. Maybe that helps. And then the refs, they need their own, education, I'm sure, on how to communicate and deal with, like we said before, deal with the white line fever, players, whatever, but also like learn some skills and, on how to communicate and how to maintain a relationship. Yeah, I say relationship, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a face-to-face, 5-second relationship.
Yeah, for sure. Just on that, man, quick insight for a little bit of what I'm doing, even for people to know. Like, that's the idea behind what I'm trying to do, like with Behind the Whistle, right? I think referees need to be empowered more rather than trying to put all the onus on the players and coaches, because even with the matrix that got implemented from BQ in terms of the junior basketball, like if you get a tech, you're suspended for a week, and it's become a lot more strict.
That's gnarly.
Yeah, that's
really?
Gnarly.
You get a tech and you're suspended for a week.
Yeah, under 14s.
Yeah, under 14s, like, yeah. And it's because that the harassment's been pretty bad. And that's just the fact. Like, there's not enough refs because there's a lot of problems around that.
Just on that, the harassment. I guess for me with junior basketball, I get pretty heated. I've been tossed a couple of times, but I usually have a conversation with the referee, and it's quite stern. It's not like a soft conversation. Usually it's something go along the lines, hey, I'm looking at this and this is happening all the time. Can you please look at it? And then if they don't look at it, then it gets, I've asked you to look at it and you haven't looked at it. It's still happening. And it's like, okay, nothing's happening. I usually go, because at junior basketball, you've got like a referee coordinator. I go straight for that coordinator.
Yeah.
And that's like,
I think that's the more appropriate route.
And it's like after the second or third time, I'm like, whoever's with me, like Tyler or whatever, I'm like, hey man, go. Mum's usually manager. So I'm like, go get that dude right there.
Yeah.
Like I need to go talk to him.
Yeah.
And he'll come over and I'm like, isn't it your job to educate these guys and you seeing what I'm seeing, and I'll outlay the problems. And sometimes I've had interesting feedback.
from the educators?
I've had bullshit in the same spots.
Yeah.
I've left my bench multiple times and walked on the other side of the court.
Yeah, I've done that too.
And gone and sat next to the guy and said, hey, are you seeing this? Because I'm seeing this. And the game's playing. It's not the right time, whatever. So maybe that helps. But then I've sat there and got this guy who's just, no. And he's just making up excuses to protect a young kid who's making the wrong call, and that young kid needs to know.
Yeah.
By you, mate. You're the person that's meant to be guiding and helping.
Yeah, you're the educator.
Is how it felt.
I think one thing on that, to just be conscious of is the fact that it's probably not going to change in that instant anyway. Like if the educator constantly goes out on the court and tells the referee to change how the refereeing, it makes it really hard for the
100%,
referee to learn. But
I think.
Yep.
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
The only thing I was going to add on to that is the time for learning and growing as a referee is after the game, upon reflection. We do have post-game chats with the referees, and we'll be like, man, this is the feedback I've got for you. We need to be better here, here, and here. Some referees take that on, some referees don't. But I think that could be a part of, your frustration with the in-game not changing. 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids would find it hard to, pick up that there's a pattern in the game that needs to be changed and then change their reffing accordingly, stay on the same page. Like, there's a lot that goes on. And so I think educators from that standpoint, it's hard to put all of the onus on them. Like, yeah, you're supposed to be educating these dudes. Well, we sort of are, but we're not going to micromanage them as well. And we need to have them learn through that as well. There is a time and a place to step out on the court and say, yo, come on, man. Like, we're letting way too much go. This is getting out of hand. There's going to be problems. You need to clean it up now.
That's sort of the idea I was going at. It wasn't more like change the aspect of the game. It was more along the lines of, hey, you're being really lopsided, or you've made 2 charge calls that weren't charges, like stuff like that.
So they don't have halftime reviews? I think that's a mistake.
We have halftime. During halftime, we do have. Yeah. Well, I mean,
timeouts even.
The educators, there should be an educator on every game. There's not usually, but there should be. And every quarter, timeout, halftime, there should be an educator sitting like with the referee's water bottles. You hand them the water bottles and you hear their meeting, or you give them, you reflect to them and you say, oh yeah, how are you finding this? How are you finding that? A lot of educators probably aren't very good at being able to,
that's what I'll pick up on.
Maybe because of their experience, they're not. The educators are probably, and I could be wrong, a couple of levels above the guys that they're watching, and it's not like you sitting there or like a Jackie Dover sitting there, and it's it's different.
And there's not a lot of education for the educators,
Yeah.
A lot of these educators are just people who have reffed. And that's all they have.
And have been doing it for a while, putting in their time.
All they have is the fact that they're older and they ref.
Yeah.
And then, we need an educator on this game.
Yeah.
Jump on.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh shit, I need to actually do something. And it's like, oh no, this is getting out of hand. Retreat.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, a coach is coming up to me. Bad guy. And I think that's also a big problem. Like coming back to what you said around, like, you've gone up to and sat next to educators and been like, can you see what I'm saying? I think a lot of the time a big problem is the fact that referees and referee educators see themselves as like, on one side and the players on another side, and there's this big wall, and it's like, you're bad, I'm good, you're biased, not going to listen.
It would almost be good if they sat on the same side as the benches and just sat in a position where they weren't on the opposite
Maybe a lot more
side.
text getting thrown out that way.
Yeah, I guess, but it also, like, they're right there, like, you're seeing the same thing. You can sort of have that quick conversation rather than having to leave
get them in
the
the
game,
action. I like that.
It's hard. It is hard. I think, that's the only way I knew. I figured out, like, I just got to go talk to that dude because he's not. Because they're kids at the end of the day. The ones that are reffing are kids.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing I was going to touch on was understanding of the rules. And maybe I'm behind in the rules, but there's a couple of rules last season where I'm like, that's not the rule, man. Like,
just basic stuff.
Yeah, like, that's not how it works.
I can actually attest to the fact that when I coached, because I've coached an under 16s rep team, an under 14s rep team.
Yeah, you would have seen it.
Yeah, it was funny,
ref, so it's different. Your reaction would be different.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Like, I had some fun because I never got a tech, maybe got one warning, but I was able to kind of manipulate the referees like in different ways. But I would always like be respectful, and I would never want them to know that I'm a referee and treat me any different. I want the game to be completely fair, but like, it's the subtle things, right? Like knowing the rules and knowing how to ask them the specific question where it's like, like even just simple stuff like a kicked ball violation. Like if it's an incidental
Did
hit,
he kick the ball? Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like I just said to him like,
that rule
hey,
itself has changed, I feel like.
I don't think so.
Kick ball?
Yeah, I've seen a guy throw it and the leg not move, hit his leg, foot violation. And I'm like,
that would be a wrong
what?
call. selective move.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
It's got to be like an intentional kick or like a movement to like stop the ball. Anyway, you just ask them specifically like, oh, explain to me the kicked ball rule, and it's like, oh, if the ball hits the guy's foot, oh no, actually that's incorrect.
Yeah.
It's actually this, just so you know for next time.
Good on you. I don't have the faith in my own knowledge anymore because it's been a while.
I mean,
sometimes I'm like, yo, and I look to the bench, hey, is that a foul? Or a foul? Is that a violation? Or what's the rules at nowadays?
Yeah.
The travel, the gap.
It helps when you know the rules.
Yeah, that helps.
It does help.
But you're right, there is a lot of but I think that's just part of
the
it. Man.
The backcourt was killing me last year. I remember that a lot.
A lot of people don't understand backcourt rule.
I know.
To be honest,
you need 3 or 4 points to cross.
3 points. Both feet and the ball have to cross half court. Once all 3 points have touched the front court, then anything the back court line's then like an out of bounds line. The line. Yes. Anything that touches back, so even if your heel tips it,
and you can have the ball in the front court, and it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. You could literally go back court. You could literally do a retreat dribble. You could dribble all the way up to half court, get both feet over, have the ball in the back court, do a retreat dribble, cross, and go over.
Yeah, and that was what was going on.
And it's not a back court.
What if 2 points, you've got maybe foot and ball in front court, and then you lift the back foot out of back court? So 2 or 3. Come on.
Don't ask me that question, man.
Am I allowed to go and put my 3rd point back down, or must I now go forward?
No, that's it, right?
That's got to be it. 2 or 3.
The 3rd point has to touch the front court.
So legally, I could get back to it. If I lift my foot.
That's such a close call.
I'll just shut up.
Actually, I don't want to provide some misinformation here. And I will admit to the fact that
get a fact checker in after
that I need to confirm on that. But I would say I'm pretty sure it's 3 points of contact is what the rule kind of states. So it's like tap. But anyway, I guess we're getting into nitty gritty stuff here. So at the end of the day,
like I told you what happened.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I like it. I think it's interesting.
I like the question, man, when you ask, what can we do to bring the relations closer?
Yeah.
I reckon understanding the psychology of it, like I said, there's a lot to understand there. And then upskilling. And not necessarily about the rules, because they'll figure that shit out. They should do, as you get better. But
I don't really have a good answer for that question.
Communication, man. Yeah, it's so key. It's so key. And I know, like, most of the texts I get is just because of poor communication.
Yeah.
I got a text for yelling out ball recently. And I didn't swear. It was just like, you can't just scream at someone, no matter what the word.
Yeah.
Look, and vice versa.
I guess it's that old cliche, treat someone how you want to be treated.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
Would you like to see a better, relationship between refs and players, or do you think it's something that doesn't really matter?
No, it should be love.
Should be love.
Yeah, 100%.
It's never going to be love, though.
I didn't say it's going to be. I said it should be. Yeah. And the question was, what would you like to see? What would you like to see?
Do you think it would be beneficial for the game?
I don't know. I like
you like being on the other side.
Exciting about the controversy. And
okay. Cool.
But you can have
that's
that
a
with
very
love.
Walters
you can
answer.
Do that.
Cool
you
with
can
that.
have that with I've done it with plenty of refs. Vaughn's a good one. Like he, and I do not love all of Vaughn's reffing. But, he's honest in the communication for the most part. And, there can be definite tension between a conversation that me and Vaughan have had on court. But I don't think it goes into like a lack of respect or a degradation of the relations, so to speak. That's how I feel about that.
Yeah. Well, I guess coming full circle, that's kind of what I was kind of about to elaborate on previously was that, I think you're right. I think delving into the psychology of it all is very important. I think there needs to be more empowerment of the referees and education for the referees, which is what I'm trying to do here in terms of teaching them how to deal with the conflict better, how to communicate more effectively, how to, regulate their emotions, etc. And I think at the moment we're putting a lot of your fault, my fault onto it. And it's kind of like, it's the problem is the players and coaches are being a problem. But it's also the fact that we haven't given the referees the tools and knowledge to be able to facilitate the game in a healthy manner to help players, behave in a good manner.
Yep. Like the refs should know how to they should learn how to say bad call. Like my bad call. That should be a skill they've got. Because they're all going to make shit calls. That happens. But if you don't own up to it, I think there's a snowball effect of where, players think you ain't being accountable, whatever.
All right. So my final kind of segment is like, I kind of chuck on the shot clock here. So you got 24 seconds to answer. I do have about 10 questions written down. We'll just see how we go. If you want to wrap it up early, we can. That's fine. So first one is, what's your favorite teammate? Who's your favorite teammate of all time?
Where's the shot clock? Damn. Favorite teammate? Oh, my brother, I guess, Izzy. Oh, that's just an easy one.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I'd say Zeke or Zane.
Yep.
Yeah.
Asshole.
Love that.
Sorry.
No, whatever you want.
Hey, calling Walters an asshole. That's funny.
How many screens have I set you over the years we played together?
Christ.
How many screens Zane and Zeke set?
Kick out, bro. Kick out.
Kick out.
Yeah.
Zeke wasn't kicking out shit.
I'll give you some
No,
love.
that's not true.
I'll
Zane
give-
wasn't kicking out a thing. Zeke was only kicked out.
I'll give you some love, Tueta. In a news article I read, Walters, it said the loss of homegrown product Josh Tueta has been detrimental to the team's success the past 2 seasons, specifically mentioning you.
Nice.
Walter said that
There you go.
about you.
Yeah, but
So
Zeke and Zane were still on the team.
that's funny. Favorite season that you've played? Very curious about this.
Under 18 Classics, 2007 state champs, baby.
Oh, real? Okay, cool.
2014 for me.
I thought you'd say that. That's my favorite season too.
What was 2014?
First year I played with you boys.
Was
that was my favorite.
I think, was that the year that you guys had Khalil playing for the team?
Yep, and
Yeah.
Marshall.
And
that was my
Marshall.
favorite. This is a bit selfish. That was my favorite because that was like the first time I started having a real impact and was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved that season, man. Warwick was coaching. I was water boy a couple times. That was amazing. Cool. What's something that a referee might do which is unforgivable and you'll take beyond the court, the confines of the game?
it's never happened, but I guess just over the top abuse at some point. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to put my finger on that one.
That's all right.
Maybe don't insult the way my parents brought me up. Blame them for my behaviour. I don't know.
I guess that is a hard
That's
word.
a tough question.
Don't put my behaviour on my parents, please.
Yeah.
It's all me.
Yeah.
What's something that you think referees misunderstand about players at a high level that you want them to know?
The tone that we use is not how I feel about you as a person.
Yes, that's so good because that's what I wanted to say, but not that well.
I love
That
that.
was perfect.
Cool. What's the best quality a referee can have?
Communication, good communication.
Ability to listen and be honest in their response.
I like
Listening's a big one, I reckon.
it. Listening is a big one. I love that.
It's a part of communication for sure.
If you could only listen to one song to get pumped up before a game, what would it be?
Ante up.
Ante Up.
Damn, nice. Right now it would be Money for Nothing, Dire Straits.
Oh, wow.
Check the guitar intro. Oi.
I've actually got a few, but I just start think Can't Be Touched by Roy Jones Jr.
Okay.
You heard that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of
Bangers.
I'm as old as you, mate.
That's true.
Walters,
Mm.
coach of Gladstone, Blair Smith, said, "You're an undercover magician who can do tricks with cards." Is this true?
No,
What?
No
Why did
way.
you say that?
I don't
Maybe
know.
it was a figure of speech.
maybe. He coached me in under 16, so maybe I'd...
I
Maybe
was
he's
like,
getting dudes mixed up. We had one dude that was good with cards, but it wasn't me.
I was like, why have I never seen your card tricks, man?
That's hilarious.
With the long hair, you could have looked like a magician, maybe.
Maybe.
Cool. Referees aside, you can include them in your answer or not. I want to know, what does sportsmanship mean to you, and how do you demonstrate it both on and off the court?
I think respecting your competitors, not necessarily in the moment. You know, I think like dudes being on the ground is a good example. I've been on teams where guys are like, don't help him up. And then I've been in teams where I'm like, I'm going to help him up even though he's on the other team.
What's your stance on that? Do it, don't? Depends.
Depends what kind of message, what type of person you are. Like if you're fouling so they don't get an easy layup and you're knocking them on their ass and you're trying to send a message, then you're not picking them up.
Yeah, depends. Yeah, makes sense.
You know, depends
Good.
on environment, team identity.
Yep.
Like if we're a hard-nosed team and we're all about defense and giving up nothing easy, then I'm not helping anyone up.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, if we've got a bunch of nice dudes that, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
kind of, it sounds like two different things where we're not really playing hard and we're playing hard, but that's not really it. Like someone like Zane's a good example. I don't see that dude knocking someone over and not picking them up,
Yeah, true.
you know?
Yeah.
Mm.
Cool. Did you want to add? You don't have to. It's fine.
Yeah, no, what was the question?
Sportsmanship, what does it mean to you? How do you demonstrate it?
I think it's like, you got to be able to look someone in the eyes and shake their hand after you've just tried to punch them in the face type of thing. And understanding that, the metaphorical punching in the face is just competing, going to battle. And that sometimes it gets a bit wild, and we should all know that. And we shouldn't take it personally. We should respect each other for going at each other like that. And I mean, I've done some heinous things on court, I've got to say, and I'm not at all proud of them. But, ideally at the end of the day, I can say my bad, and it's all done, not out of some vicious intent, but I'm just like white line fever, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's just all
just
reaction.
want to compete.
Yeah.
Been putting my life
I think that
into
comes
this,
through.
going hard, trying to get the win here.
That comes through a lot for you, at least. I know you have a reputation with referees that you're a good person.
Oh, that's
you probably
nice.
Didn't expect that.
No, I didn't, because I know I've also got a reputation for being
on the
court, and I think that's well earned.
That's no. You're right. Yeah, you're right. But I do want to make clear that I've been around a lot of referees. I've been in NBL 1 pre-games, post-games, all this stuff. People know you're a good person.
Oh, it makes me so happy.
Off the court, 100%.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because I get it if it could be the other way.
He's not that nice.
So yeah, that might be nice for you to hear. What's some things that you guys do personally to maintain your mental health?
Floats. I do that once a month. I'm gonna massage as well. Probably helps me just go into a mindset.
Yeah.
Routine. My life is very routine related. I eat the same breakfast every day, and I eat the same at the same time. I stretch and roll out in the middle of the day. I get at least one workout in a day if I can at some point. So maintaining a routine of it can be monotonous and boring, but doing the same sort of stuff and sticking to that routine, for me, keeps my mind level. So I feel like I don't have very many highs and lows throughout my life. I'm sort of in the middle,
Nice.
Especially now.
Yeah.
Like my highs and lows are very different.
Yeah.
My lows are stress related, not so much sadness or anything like that,
Wow. Yeah, that's good, man. Cool. Good to
For
hear.
me, it's it's just breathing. That's about the only technique I use. Focus on breathing, do a lot of breathing, be conscious of it. Read books or just learn stuff. That's always good for my mental health. Yeah,
like listening to other people's perspectives. I think that helps me a lot. I do that in my car. It's weird. I've got a different mood in my car. Like some days I'm like,
yeah, righto, mate. And my last answer is kids. The fact I got kids, that helps big time. Hey, whatever the stress is, you come home now, I got these kids to look at. I'm like, so there's my three things.
It's like,
go on now, finish your second answer.
No, I didn't have a second answer.
I didn't realize how often you cut people off,
Sorry, bro.
No, that's all right. Yeah. I just didn't realize. You have to be on you about it. Gotcha.
What is the best thing about you guys are both fathers now? What's the best thing about it?
It's that's the number one priority for me. It made it real easy. Now I don't have to my number one priority is kids and family. Sweet. Don't have to stress or about, what I should be doing. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. If I just take care of that, the rest of it will fall into place when it does. I feel guilt-free almost,
Yeah, that's nice.
My answer's pretty similar. I think the point that Josh made before about coming home, seeing your little man or little girl, it's like, whoa, that's the thing right there,
Yeah.
That's the most important thing in the world,
Yeah. I love it. All right. We'll leave it there. I always finish off with just gratitude. So one thing that you're most grateful for in life right now, and then we're done.
Healthy family. Yep.
Yeah.
And friends.
Answer.
Healthy friends and family at this point.
Yeah, family. Yeah, family I would say is probably the biggest thing. And friends, friends are important.
Beautiful.
You need good friends.
Love that, man. I guess real quick, even though we're done, was there any last things that you guys wanted to mention? Any last pieces of wise words or advice or things that you wanted to say, points you wanted to get across?
Credit to you, man, because like I said earlier, this is a great idea. Just a podcast focusing on refs, giving refs a bit of a voice. I don't know, there may be others out there. Are there others out there? Are there other podcasts from other countries that are doing something?
There's one in America, which is very focused towards referees, but it's very I'm very much focused on the psychological, mental, relationship, mental health, everything like that side of things. Whereas those guys are much more focused on like
performance, maybe.
Yeah, it's like performance. It's like it's like mentorship in terms of how to referee better, not so much focused on the mind. Yeah. And it's also based on American basketball, which is different to FIBA. So I think there's a big gap for referee, assistance, and I think
education, awareness, all that. I reckon what you're doing is great for all that, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we should bring the relations closer together. It'll make for a better product. 100%.
Yeah.
Sweet. Nah, that's great. Cool.
Thanks,
Thanks, bro. Thanks for having us on.
Always. Thanks, boys.